Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Necromaniacs Horror Podcast. How's it going, Mike?
It is going well. Spring is here. It's early April. We're not freezing to death anymore, so that's a good thing. But I am okay, Mr. Hill.
Yeah, it's nice to, staying light out longer. Days seem a
Hmm.
little bit longer, enjoying that. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely, man. And you're back home from your run of dates.
Yeah, I hesitate to call it a tour. It's only like 5 shows, but
Hmm. Mini
but it was
tour.
fun. Yeah, it was fun. It was got thanks to everyone who showed up, man. I got a chance to hang out and meet a lot of you guys that listened to Necromaniacs and Everything Went Black. And specifically in Philadelphia, I got to hang out with Mike and Tavis. And Tavis I'd met before in Pittsburgh.
Hmm.
This is my first time meeting Mike and hanging out with him, and I really appreciate you guys coming. That was awesome.
Oh, that's so cool, man. It must be great to meet the listeners.
Oh, hell
Um,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. It must be a big, big thrill. Like you said, we appreciate everybody who listens and people who make recommendations and the whole little family we've made here. And speaking of which, I'd sent a text to Mr. Hill the other day about the fact that I've now known him for 20 years, folks. I met Mike
Yeah.
20 years ago when me and John Draper had our comic book store, the Brooklyn Monster Factory, which opened April 1st, 2026, which feels like 10 years ago, but no, it is
Oh,
20
man.
years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Time's a flat circle, man.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, crazy. Like I remember all the different places you lived and going to these apartments and taping episodes and all that stuff and going to see
Yeah.
shows and oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I had a pretty stable spot for a good 10, over 10.
Yes, you did near St. Vitus. Yes,
Yeah,
I
Green
remember that.
Greenpoint. Yeah, that was
Mhm.
my home base for a decade, basically. Yeah. So
Yeah, yeah, man. But yeah, it brought back a lot of memories, and of course, like the launching of the show and the launching of Everything Went Black, and Tombs
yeah,
starting a year after we met,
that's
actually,
right. Yep. Yep. That's right,
and
man.
our mutual friends band Black Anvil also kind of kicked off around that time, I think in '07 or '08 or something, and
Pretty
you
much
know.
around the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just crazy, man. Oh, Mike, the other day I was going through this a drawer of stuff. Everybody has a
Uh-huh.
drawer of stuff, and I found the laminate from the Marduk show that you guys and Black Anvil did
Oh, hell yeah, man.
at
Yep.
Gramercy. Yeah,
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 that
that's
was a
pretty
great
cool.
show, man. So
You take a
good.
picture of that.
Hell yeah. Also, let's remember Lee Altamare, who actually
Mm,
he's the one who connected us in a way, because I had just recorded a demo for Lee's band Communion.
mm.
And we'd stayed in touch, and he was like, check out my buddy's comic book store. And he gave me a flyer. And sure enough, one day I just walked in there, and that's how you and I met.
Yeah, man, that's right. Wow, so crazy, man. Rest in peace to Lee. Of course, he passed away a while back. Um, Lee was also a friend of Rennie Starkweather's. So
Yep.
yeah, man, it's just kind of like this whole little family of people. Crazy.
It really is, dude. And and the crew, it's like it kind of like extends out. We got people on Long Island, we got guys upstate like Mike
Mhm.
Score,
Yeah, yeah.
we got of course Jersey, we
Mhm.
got a nice little tri-state area crew.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, I did this podcast a couple weeks ago. Jimmy from the Block, who's this young death metal dude who has a YouTube channel, and he was talking about all those early '90s bands, and I was talking about All Out War and Starkweather and Dark Side, and you know, and it was just fun to kind of like talk about those days, and it is pretty crazy how long you know people when you really think about it.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's like I mean you must know Rennie for what, 20, almost 30 years probably, I imagine, right?
I would say 92, so
Yeah.
33 years. Might have been,
Cheated.
well, actually might have been 91 at Lemoore, but then the first show I got them on with Confusion was 92, but we met in 91 at Lemoore when Confusion played this Battle of the Bands show at Lemoore that he was at because there was a Philly band on it. And but I think John Draper met him in 90 because John brought home the Starkweather demo when Lament played a show in Philly. So it's
Nice.
fucking crazy, dude. Yeah, it's really crazy, man.
Yeah, and then there's all these Boston people too, like Keith Bennett and
Mm,
those guys too. Yeah, I mean they're a
yeah,
little.
yeah.
I'm pretty tight with Keith, but he's on the more periphery of this little crew. You know what I'm saying?
And it's funny, but when I listened to the episode, the neo noir episode you did last week, and you guys talked about hardcore for a little bit, and it dawned on me that all three of us, me, you, and Jeff, came into hardcore at three different periods of hardcore. Like from the
Yeah,
way he brought up like some of the first punk and hardcore he heard to the first punk and hardcore you heard, and then the first hardcore I heard. It's like three different eras, and I was like, wow, that's really interesting.
that's a really good point. I didn't, I never really thought of
Yes,
it. Yeah,
because of the age gaps.
yeah.
What the age gaps are not like tremendous, right? But they're big enough to have different entry points into music. That's what it is.
Well, with hardcore, like unlike metal, a
Mhm.
lot of these bands only put out like two or three records. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Think
yes.
about, of course there's a band that, then they reform and then, whatever. But it's like mainly like you think about like the I want to talk about the shit that I listened to when I was a kid, like, like Circle Jerks and,
Hmm.
stuff like that. They put out like two or three great records and then that every
Right.
rest kind of just like whatever, you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
that's the entry point. It's like quick. It comes in,
Hmm.
goes quick.
Yeah, and a lot happens in like say a 4 year gap. So much happens in 4 years. Like
Yeah.
I come in 88, squarely beginning of 88, and Sick of It All, Agnostic Front, Rest in
Yep.
Pieces, Youth of Today, GB are like on fire. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what's happening in New York City, you know? Um, and Circle Jerks, Black Flag, and Misfits are old hat. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
it's
And it's
yeah,
only
even
been
though
like
it's
a
not
half,
even
like
that old.
five
Right,
years or something
exactly.
like that.
Like
Yeah.
it's not even that old really, but it's old enough to make a difference, in where someone may walk in the door. And then, Jeff is into the beginning of the 90s. Like he not really comes into the 80s. Oh, he's like squarely early mid 90s, which is another group of bands. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I thought that was
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. That's when
Hmm.
you get like, your integrities and,
Hmm.
bloodlets and bands like
Right,
that.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the music kind of ties everybody together.
Yeah. Nah, totally, dude. It's great.
Just like
I
horror
love it.
movies do.
Yeah. That's the other thing I love too, is like how many, it's just a fucking, if you're into one, you're most likely into the other.
Yeah, definitely. And then we have a movie like tonight, which is I will call it's a Necromaniacs podcast movie, but it is not a horror movie, but we're gonna get into
Yeah.
that.
So let's shout out the rest of the guys. Of course,
Yeah.
kicking everything off every other Monday. We've got Brandon Legion's Horror Wolf 666.
Tuesday, we have the greatest metal podcast in the land, getting bigger and bigger each week. That's Into the Necrosphere with our buddy Jackie Smith. What about Wednesday?
Wednesday, we've got Everything Went Black, as well as Iblis Manifestations. And Thursday, as well as being Necro Thursday for the Necromaniacs Horror Podcast we're listening to right now, is day one of Carl Hikara's Soul Knocks.
That's right. Friday, we have my brother from our actual mother, Mr. John Draper, along with his co-host B Show, Brian and Shaheen with Spitball Media. Saturday, you get a day off. Spring is here. Go touch some grass, as they say. What about Sunday?
Sunday, Carl returns with day two of Soul Knocks. That dude puts out two episodes a week, man.
There's a guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah, it's like another one.
that's for all things dark, sinister. And Carl and I are almost pretty much in the twilight of our Darkness Weaves collaboration. We finished all the Kane stories, pretty much all of Carl Edward Wagner's horror fiction, and now we're doing his Robert E. Howard pastiche novels. So we're doing Conan, Road of Kings right now. So
Oh,
that's
very cool.
yeah, he wrote a Conan novel and he wrote a Bran Mac Warren novel. Just in case you guys didn't know that.
Nice. And there you have it, folks.
Yeah,
The
man.
horsemen of the podcasting apocalypse. Make sure you're subscribed to all of these fine shows.
We don't have any
Um,
calls this week, but if you
yes, no calls,
had
but
a
I wanted to talk about something. Um,
well, let me
True
give the number
Detective.
for let me give the number out
Oh yeah,
first.
give the number out. Yeah, give the number.
So you can call us on the Necro phone at 908-913-0782, 908-913-0782. I know that I say this every week, but I need to post that somewhere
Mm,
in our Instagram feed. I know we had a snappy little, graphic that I used. We got to put that up again for more people.
yeah, yeah. Make it like a sticky somewhere, like
Yeah.
stick post. But while Jane and I are trudging along with Mad Men, we're halfway through season 6. I am watching True Detective season 2, Mike Hill, for the only the second time ever. And I have to say, I really am enjoying the hell out of it.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
a lot of people are, they poo-poo season 2, but I really like it.
Well, Jackie Smith and I are planning, we've been planning to do an episode on True Detective season 2 because I didn't like it when it first came out. I think I was
Mhm.
pretty vocal about not liking it, but then no, man, as time goes on, it's like I really actually I like it, man. It's its own thing.
Mhm.
Um it's definitely I don't know, it was interesting, man. There's like I found myself rewatching it. I think I watched it 3 times in total now.
Okay, look, while season 1 has the dark crime aspect crossed with a horror aspect, a potential cosmic horror aspect, this one is dark crime, period.
Yeah.
But to me, though, with this new rewatch, I get total season 3 Twin Peaks vibes, Mike. I don't know
Absolutely,
why.
dude. No,
Yeah,
dude, I 100%. I felt that way when I started rewatching it too.
there's something about it, something about the acting and the way it's shot and the way like the dialogue and just the mannerisms. It's definitely a cousin to the final season of Twin Peaks. Again, maybe not obviously as crazy and off the wall and fantastical, but those dark moments, I actually think the acting in this is very solid. And I
Yeah.
think Vince Vaughn is fucking amazing in this. I've read that some people are critical of some of the dialogue and whatnot
No,
and some of
no.
the acting. I completely disagree. I think everyone is quite vested in their roles, and there's, a believability factor to some of it, in my opinion. Again, it's just more kind of really dark crime, but the plot is there's a little too much, I think, going on overall. But the main plot, I do like a lot, and like I really like, like you may not like a character or an arc within the arc. I actually kind of like everybody's arc in a way on season 2.
Yeah. Yep.
Mm.
I think Vince Vaughn killed it. I'm actually a fan of his acting. I
Yeah,
like when he's
yeah,
in
and
movies.
it's making me want to go back and watch the S. Craig Zoller movies for
Oh,
some
dude.
reason.
Yeah, man. Dragged across
which
concrete,
which I need to do rewatches of
Did
those
we
because
we
I've
never
only seen
covered
those
any of
once.
those, did we? Did we cover any of those?
I think definitely. Well, we Bone Tomahawk we covered.
Top Bone
Um,
Tomahawk, because that's a horror film. Yeah.
right, but no, we've never covered any. Wait a minute, you'd have to keep listeners might have to keep us
We got
honest.
we got to get
I might
that
have to
list
do
going.
some digging. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
definitely potentially one other, but not all of them. Right.
Yeah. That material is great, man. Those movies are just all throwbacks to like hard hitting like 70s, like
Yeah.
Sam Peckinpah kind of films, like very like abrasive in a lot of ways. Very cool. I like those movies a lot.
Yeah, and you know, you could almost potentially tie it into tonight's film in a way, in the fact that it's very abrasive and unsettling and
Oh yeah.
dark.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
of course this week's film, this evening's entertainment is Out of the Blue,
Hmm.
which was directed by Dennis Hopper, written by Leonard Yaki and Brendan Nielsen, and it was released May 1980 in the Cannes Film Festival, and then November 17th, 1982 in Los Angeles, and it's 94 minutes long.
I gotta say, this is another one of the video store movies that I remember this box cover very well. With Linda Mance on the cover, but I never rented it because I didn't understand what this was. And I also remember as a kid not knowing, like seeing that, and it says she's 15, the only adult she admires is Johnny Rotten. And I'm like, oh, that's a girl that looks like, I thought that to me as a young kid in a video store, I thought that that was a young boy, but it's kind of an androgynous actress, you could say, and definitely this particular role, as you get to the end of the film, you could also probably say that. But yeah, this is a movie that, yeah, look, I'm going to call it a Necromaniacs podcast film, and that while not horror, it has horrific elements and extremely dark and disturbing elements, and a movie that you'll probably never forget once you've seen. Would you agree?
I totally agree. And this is definitely one of those films that fits our brand, but
Yeah.
it's
Oh, yeah.
not overtly a horror film, but horrible things happen. And
Totally.
I'm going to give a little precursor. These next two episodes that we're doing are not tip traditionally horror films, but they're horrific movies. Like they're movies that show the underside, the underbelly of life in this country and the
Mhm.
human spirit in extreme trauma. So that's like what the theme for these next two episodes are. Oh, and by the way, this movie, you and I have discussed this film, but it also
Mhm.
was widely discussed. And this came directly from the Necromaniacs um, recommendation line. It's from the
Yes,
Necro
it
Phone.
did. It did. So, uh, hopefully people are happy we're covering it. Um, it was a bit of a lost movie, actually, although, like you said, Mike, it came out in 80 and in 82, and it had a VHS home video run. For a while, it was kind of out of print, and it was very hard to find until just not all that long ago. It was the restoration of it was crowdfunded, which I thought was really cool,
Yeah.
and crowdfunded from actresses Natasha Lyonne and Chloe Sevigny of all people. They had a hand in getting this movie back out there because they loved it, and they loved Linda Mance. So I thought that was really fucking cool.
I gotta be honest with you, man. I don't know if I ever actually seen this movie before. I mean,
Okay.
it might be one of those things where like I may have seen this over the
Hmm.
years. It might have showed up somewhere in my youth, you know. I
Hmm.
wouldn't be surprised if I this got rented at my house at some point and I watched it and was traumatized even further by it, you know.
Well, it is a Canadian. It was filmed in Canada. It's kind of like a U.S. Canadian joint film, you know. Um, but it's probably more Canadian than it is American. But again, it definitely was in video stores with that box cover that if you look on the Wikipedia page.
This might have been
Um,
on the USA or something, like Night Flight or something.
yeah, yeah. I bought the Severin Blu-ray in 2023. It has this cool slipcover. It's a double discer with tons of extras, and it looks fucking beautiful. The film. I mean, I'm kind of glad I didn't finally see it till the 2020s, as opposed to seeing some scratched up VHS back in the day.
Yeah,
Um, but Linda Mans, I knew as Pee Wee from The Wanderers, which is
yeah,
a excellent gang film from the late 70s that had the misfortune of coming out around the same exact time as The Warriors, but The Warriors kind of stole all of its thunder back in the day. Um, but The Wanderers actually gained its own prominence in the 80s in the VHS era. And of course, now it's definitely a beloved film. And I see all these debates that the Wanderers is the better film than the Warriors, and blah blah
No,
blah,
I don't
this
know
and
about
that,
that. I
and it's
mean, they're two
better
different
acting and this
films.
and that.
Yeah.
That's for another time. We could probably even cover the Wanderers if we wanted to, but um, that's kind of the only thing I ever remembered her in. And she was again super young in that. She was the girlfriend of the big, skinhead dude
The
with some
Baldies.
steam. Yes, yes, the Baldies. Just this crazy kind of interesting character. But in this film, she is, I mean, she's like a Jodie Foster-esque performance.
Yeah.
And she's playing 15, but I believe she is about 18 when she made this movie, or 17, something like that. She's
Still
definitely
very
not
young,
that.
though.
Yeah, she's
Yes.
still young. She definitely looks young.
Yeah.
Um, and it is an uncomfortable film. We'll preface that, and we're going to say some things that some listeners probably might not like hearing because this is what goes on in the movie. But on the positive side, there's the Elvis and punk rock connection in this movie, which I thought was very cool.
And that's why I think I might have seen this on like Night Flight when I was a kid or something like that, like on
Yeah,
Up All. Because you
no,
know how like
you might have.
yeah, because like anything that kind of had like a punk sort of twist to it, that would show up on there. Like I s- like Ladies and Gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains, and like movies like that would show
Right,
up on
right.
like Up All Night, on Night Flight, and maybe that's, but I do have a very vague memory of this movie, like in my reptilian brain from like maybe my childhood,
Yeah,
or I
yeah.
might be completely hallucinating it. I don't know. I'm not sure.
To me, I just always remember the box cover, but I never rented it because I was never
Yeah.
sure what the fuck it was. And I was like, what is this?
Real,
I
real quick
always
about
remember
the Baldies in The
hmm
Wanderers, according to my
hmm
dad, who, the rest in peace, Dan Hill.
hmm
He, my dad was a bad kid when he was growing up in the Bronx, and he confirmed that the Baldies are actually a real gang.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That is really cool. Um, I love that movie. I haven't seen it in a long time. It's kind of seeing this movie is making me want to watch that again. Um, we used to watch that a lot in the Scandato house along with the Warriors. We watched all the gang movies,
The Lords of
Rumblefish,
Flatbush.
Lords of Flatbush, Rumblefish, Outsiders, Wanderers, Warriors. We watched all of them multiple times, rented them all the time. Um, you know, of course, everybody like Warriors is kind of like the Godfather, I guess, of them. Everybody loves that one, but I
Yeah.
always dug Wanderers.
All
um,
right. So Linda Mance plays Cindy or CB.
yes, CB, yeah.
Yeah. And then we got Dennis Hopper as Don Barnes, her father. Sharon Farrell as Kathy Barnes. Don Gordon as Charlie. Raymond Burr, Ironside, as Dr. Breen, he's a fairly small part in this film, but he's there.
Yeah.
Uh, Leon Erickson as Paul, credited as Eric Allen. Fiona Brody as Carol, and David
Mhm.
L. Crowley as Anderson. I don't see who else is in this film that we might be. Oh, the band Pointed
The
Sticks.
Pointed Sticks. Yeah,
Yep,
yeah. They're
there you
actually
go.
not bad at all. You notice something? Okay, so it's like 1980, and it's kind of like, okay, the Sex Pistols are gone. They're broken
They're
up.
done. Yeah,
And in a weird way, like punk has morphed into new wave. And that's kind of like what we're kind of seeing at this club, where it's like there's a lot of people that to me look punk. And then there's a lot of people that I really kind of also look very new wave. And it's like that molding of the two that was kind of really
yeah,
happening at that point in life, right?
yeah. There's like keyboards in their music, and
Yep, yep.
at least one or two of those guys were wearing ties.
And like the movie Valley Girl, honest, like to me, they're all new wavers. They're not punk rock. Like it's weird, kind of like it could be like one person might say that they're punk, but to me, it's like, nah, man, these dudes look like new wave guys. They look like
Well,
new romantic guys. Yeah.
the drummer in Pointed Sticks. All right, I know that Mike brought this up.
Hmm.
Who is that?
Oh, I
Mike,
don't
you're
know.
gonna have to help us out here because
Yes.
I
Well,
remember you mentioned this, and I cannot
hmm.
remember his name. He was definitely a punk rocker, though, the drummer.
Yes, yes, I would say so. But they are listed. Their Wikipedia has them as Canadian punk rock slash new wave band from Vancouver. So, yeah, they put a bunch of records out. they're actually, I thought they were quite good watching them in this movie. Um, and they did, there was a nice emphasis on him because CB, gets behind the drum kit, and I thought that was an interesting scene.
Probably one of the only male characters in this film that was actually nice to her.
Yeah. Honestly, much like other movies out there in the world, all of the adults are terrible in this movie, but barring that drummer. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, but really, yeah, that particular scene was really cool. But like everything else, it just everything kind of like devolves into darkness too. That's the thing. Everything just sort of like dissolves in this
yeah.
film for her, around her. That including the kickoff scene. We got the scene
Yes.
where
Oh my God. What
uh,
an opening scene. You can do the honors.
yeah, so Dennis Hopper is a truck driver at this point, so he's driving around and he's wearing a cowboy hat and CB's riding shotgun and she has like a clown costume on.
It's
And
5 years prior. She's about, she's younger at this point,
she's
right?
young. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So she's like a young kid at this stage. Um, they're like kind of kidding around, and then tragically, his tractor trailer smashes into a school bus and, demolishes the school bus
And kills a
and
bunch of kids.
kills a bunch of kids, which that comes
Oof.
back to haunt him later on in the film.
Yeah.
So he's off to jail for a few years.
5 years, they say.
5 years,
Yes.
yeah. So then we cut forward in time and we see CB hitchhiking on the side of the road. Now, you said she looks young, but she has the face of like a 35-year-old woman, man.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
okay. It's
It's like,
it's weird, right? Like
yeah,
I felt like in some scenes, right? Like you're right. In some scenes, she does look like a much older woman. I mean, I think she's about 18 making this movie, honestly. She's playing 15. There are scenes in this movie where she looks like a 30-year-old woman. There are scenes where she looks like a 13-year-old girl. It is very interesting. And
it,
yeah, you're right.
it's very uncomfortable and off-putting too, because she's built like a girl, like a little
Yes.
girl.
Like
Like
a
she
little
has
girl.
like the
Yes,
body
yes.
of like a very young girl, and then
hmm
she's got this like mug, you know what I mean?
hmm
Like this hard face. They,
Well, it's weird. Well, it's, that's why I made Linda Mann such a great character actor, number one. But number two, I think it really is a reflection of CB, the young woman. Like she's been through fucking hell. She's still living in hell, and she's only 15 years old. And it literally is probably aged her face. So that's kind of how I looked
yeah,
at
no,
it.
fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So with Dennis Hopper away for his 5 year stint, you don't really know a whole lot about him. You don't.
Mhm.
He comes back into the film, but what you really see is her mother. And she at this point, the mother is with the guy named Paul who owns this diner, and she
That
works
she
there.
works out. Yeah.
And I guess he's the owner or manager owner, so I'm gonna say. And there's a moment when CB talks to her mother, and she says something to the effect of like, oh yeah, there's like, the hot guys, and then there's the guys who provide. So you get the sense
Mm.
that like, Paul's like a provider. She's
Yep.
kind of using him for money, and she's just
Yeah.
waiting for Don to come back out of jail.
Yep. You feel bad
Or
for Paul. Yeah, I feel
yeah,
bad
because
for Paul. Paul's not a bad guy either, actually. So there's another
yeah,
semi-decent guy in this movie. Yeah.
he's just like very inconsequential, very
Mhm.
non-confrontational. Like he gets walked on by people, but he's like, respectable guy. He's got a business owner, providing, taking care of this lady and her kid. And
Mhm.
I got the sense also that CB kind of likes Paul too.
Yes. Yeah. There's a
Now,
very creepy scene out there's a creepy scene actually right after that scene where we see these guys who are, Dennis Hopper's friends. And not only are they kind of perving on Kathy, the mom, who's their friend's wife, they're kind of perving on 15-year-old CB too, right?
and her friends too.
And her friends. Yeah, three teenage girls, three 15-year-olds.
Yeah,
These
Charlie.
guys who look like they're in their 40s
Yeah,
are
and
perving on. Yeah.
Yeah, they're because it's the scene where they're at the bowling alley, and
Yes.
these three guys are drinking beers at the bowling alley, and these like well, Kathy, who is CB's mom, is is bowling, and
Yeah.
then the three girls show up, and you know, Charlie points them out, and it's so fucking creepy and uncomfortable with
Yeah.
the age difference of these like
Mhm.
lecherous old men, man.
And then Charlie does a fucked up thing where he's groping Kathy in front of Paul when he realizes that Paul is like there with her, and he just like doesn't give a fuck. Like he's just like a piece of garbage, like, you know?
Well, yeah, and Charlie, man, he's the slime one of the like it's a toss up between him or Don actually.
Right, Dennis Hopper, yeah.
Yeah, as who is the slimiest of the two of them? Because
Mhm.
Charlie, allegedly is boys with Don.
Yep, that's his best friend, supposedly. Yeah.
That's his best friend, and he's like, you know, almost sexually assaulting his daughter and
And
maybe
wife. Yeah.
and wife, and it's like so you got to
Jeez.
wonder about this guy too, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And, it's no wonder CB is kind of always not home and kind of always kind of roaming and finds escapism in Elvis and the Sex Pistols and talking about Johnny Rotten and Sid Vicious and the truck that killed all those kids, the remnants of it, is parked in front of the house. How fucked
Yeah.
up is that? Like she hangs out in it. Like it's so weird, right?
And she also talks on the CB radio. Like she has
Yes.
like a
Uh-huh.
handle, she's called Gorgeous.
Mhm.
So from the get-go, there's this overlaying over this sense of just like creepiness and like pedophilia and
Mhm.
fucking incest and all this like
Drug
disgusting
use, pedophilia.
shit.
It's all the boxes. Yeah, it clicks all the fucking boxes. Yeah, it really does, man.
Yeah.
Um, and she says she's going to sleep at a friend's house, CB, but in reality, she kind of hitchhikes and goes to the city, Vancouver, where where this scene, Jesus Christ, this cab driver is kind of friendly to her and talks to her and smokes pot with her and gets CB into his apartment with his girlfriend. Mike, how
And it,
fucking dark was this scene?
yeah, it was like well, first of all, it's like they're in the car, they're in the cab, and he doesn't seem that bad of a guy,
No, he actually seems okay. Yes.
talking about music and but then
Mhm.
when he offers to like get high with her at his place, you're like, okay, this guy's up to no good. And then it's like they descend into like one of the nine circles of hell or something like that. They go
Yeah.
down this like dingy, depressing staircase into this like flop house with all these like miscreants living there. They walk by these
Yeah.
different rooms, and each room there's some just depravity going on. And then they come to his place, his room or whatever at the end of the hall, and he's there with his girlfriend who's just like on
Half
drugs or
dressed, half dressed
half
like
dressed.
prostitute. Yeah.
Probably, yeah, well, a prostitute, let's say it. She's
Mm.
most likely a prostitute. He starts strumming his guitar because he knows that CB likes music. That's kind of what they started talking about originally. He's like, it's funny, there's this whole vibe of like disco sucks,
Right, right. Yeah,
and
because it's
she
like
asks
centered
him
around.
like, do you like punk? And he's like, yeah,
Mhm.
it's all right, and that's how he gets her back to his place. So he gives her some weed, and her whole thing is she's probably just really just looking for a place to kind of crash out for the night. So she, you know, lays down and she's maybe gonna doze off. And then this dude, well, first of all, his prostitute girlfriend like stands above her in her underwear. And
Yeah.
then which is like real creepy. It's like some like a Richard
Mm.
Kern sort of like thing. And he just starts touching her, dude. And it
And
was
then
like,
she kind of advances, like they both kind of advance to her,
yeah,
like, and
yeah.
then she breaks a bottle over his head and gets the hell out of there. But at one point, it's like a Gaspar No movie, guys. It's just
Yes.
really like it's like, oh, what is going to happen? Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's
Everyone
weird.
feels like at any moment it feels like danger is going to happen. Like something's horrible can happen at any moment in this movie. And yeah, it's very much like Gaspar Noé, like I Stand
Mhm.
Alone or something like that,
Mhm. So thank God she gets the hell out of there, and then she makes it into gets to a club, and jam packed, and that the band is playing, and she's in her element, right? The pointed sticks, that band is playing, and she's treated nice by the band members, and she watches them from the stage. The drummer lets him play as the kit, um, you know, and but then she gets apprehended by the cops because they see that she's a runaway and a minor, and that's where the psychologist guy comes into play,
Yeah,
Dr.
Raymond
Green. Yeah.
Raymond Burr, Ironside.
Who brings her
So,
to back to her wonderful mom, folks.
real quick, you guys out there, if anyone out there knows who I'm talking about when I say Ironside, please, please send us a message because I realize that reference is probably a little too archaic for some of you guys.
Ay, ay, ay. It's funny, as a side note, my boss is on the phone today, and I don't know who he was talking to, but he gave like so many references to things from 40 years ago that I'm thinking to myself, I hope he's talking to someone old, because if he's not, then this person probably has no idea what this man is saying. But yeah, pretty funny. Yeah.
Another really tense scene was when she takes the mother's Kathy takes CB to the penitentiary to visit Don,
Yes,
who's
to visit
in
dad.
jail.
Hmm.
And Dennis Hopper is Dennis Hopper, man. You know what I'm saying? Like
Oh,
he
yes.
is unhinged, dangerous, like unpredictable. Um, and now the thing is, he hadn't seen his daughter in 5 years
Right. Hmm.
because he was like, he didn't want her to see him like this.
Hmm.
And then, I don't know, you get a certain time period for visiting rights, I guess, in the jail, right? So they were only there for like 2 minutes. He's like, visiting's over, visiting's over. He started getting really agitated. And the way they shot that scene was these like extreme close-ups on their faces, man. Did you notice
Mm.
that?
Yeah, I did notice that.
And you see Dennis Hopper just tweaking out the whole time, man. He's just like, and the mother and everyone just looks so fucking uncomfortable, man.
It's funny, like he stars in this movie, but he also directed it, and I have to say, like, this is a pretty damn well directed movie for a guy who's like a lunatic, huh?
Yeah,
Like, you know what I'm
dude.
saying?
Well, and also I feel like 1980, this is like prime, like out of his mind, Dennis Hopper too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, it is.
Like Apocalypse Now was like a couple years prior to this, right?
Oh no, it's like right around this time. Yeah,
All
like
right,
right around
yeah,
this
they
time.
probably filmed it, yeah, around the same.
Mhm.
And he even admitted in Apocalypse Now he was high on LSD the entire time.
Jesus, yeah,
Yeah,
but he's also a craftsman, and he probably knew when to hone it in when he had to, right?
yeah. I mean, he's a master. I mean, I love Dennis Hopper. Even when, even at his most unhinged, I really enjoy him. You know what I mean?
So miraculously, a man who killed, I don't know, 15 children is released from jail after 5 years, and he comes home and they have a party for him. And honestly, it seems like he has not changed in the slightest. He's drinking like a lunatic, he's doing
Yep,
drugs, he's acting like a maniac at the house. He has no remorse
yep.
at all. And this is solidified when a man comes into the house who turns out to be the father of one of the dead children to confront him. And Don and his friend get mad at the father and you know say they're going to kick his, like, they have zero remorse, zero empathy. Yeah.
And this is where that's the thing, man. It's like up until this point of the movie, you're kind of like, all right, maybe Dennis Hopper gets out of jail, things turn around and, straighten out. No, they get worse. And like, you get to see what a real scumbag he is. And,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
that,
Don gets fired by this guy. Ends up, Don has a job at a landfill, right?
yeah, he's
And
like shoveling with his like, first he says he has a job working heavy machinery and it's like basically running a backhoe and a garbage dump. So,
yeah, and this dad who had come to the party, got him fired, and him and his buddy end up basically beating this man to death outside of his home.
well, how sick did that guy look too?
Yeah.
The guy,
Oh my
it's
God.
like this is like my what I love about this era is how fucking real everyone looks.
Mm,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like this, the dad shows up, male pattern baldness, fucking fantastic mustache, just like a everyman. You know what I'm trying to say?
yeah,
Like just
yeah.
like
I
a
mean,
guy that you would see on the street somewhere, and no Hollywood moments or nothing like that, man. It's like this era, it's real. It's like these films seem so real. And another thing that comes to mind too, I don't vague Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer vibes in this movie too.
yeah, I could see that. I could
Like the
see that.
reality, the realness of it makes it feel like, how like in Henry, things kind of happen, they go from scene to scene. There's like it's more just about the atmosphere of it, and that's kind of
Mhm.
what this film is like. It's about a lot of atmosphere, and the plot is very sketchy in some ways, but it's more about vibes and like the feelings. You know what I mean?
I agree. And it's of course it's an independent film.
Yeah.
It's not a big budget late 70s, early 80s film. But like you said, it definitely has that anything could happen, realness vibe to it, across the board. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Don, another thing Don brings home after getting fired from the job is a stick of dynamite from the job site, which will come into play later, huh?
Definitely. Now we're getting into some real darkness here too. Now one of the
Mhm.
things I wanted to mention, which we kind of glossed over, is before Don gets out of jail, Kathy's spending a lot of time with Charlie,
Yes.
away from Paul,
Hmm.
and kind of what prompts Stevie to run away is she's looking in the window one night and she sees that Don is like getting her strung out on heroin.
Yeah,
Not
that's a
Don,
rough scene too.
Charlie. Charlie was giving
Charlie,
heroin.
her
Yeah.
husband's friend is getting her into heroin. It's just like it's just so bad all around. Um, and Don, of course, once he's nestled back in his house, is beating his wife and treating his wife like shit. And it causes CB to kind of lash out at school, where she gets in trouble in this one scene, and she gets evaluated by the Dr. Breen guy again, who has come to suspect that her dad has been sexually abusing her since childhood, which will also come back into play by the end of the film. So, like, you just really feel for CB at this point, like, and your whole, what's going to happen next thing is really kind of, you know, what this movie is really all about. And like you said, it just kind of just descends into the pits of hell, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's like you knew something like this was going to happen.
Yeah.
You knew
Hmm.
something like this was going to happen. You just know exactly what it was. It's almost like somewhere out in the cosmos, there's a meteorite heading towards the planet Earth,
Hmm.
and you know it's going to strike. You just don't know when or how bad it's going to be. And that's kind of how I feel about this scene. Like as soon as I saw Don interaction with his family and the sketchiness of Charlie, I knew something horrible was going to happen to CB. And this is the culmination of all that. So
Yeah.
we got Don and Charlie. They're drunk at the house, and
Hmm.
Kathy's shooting heroin in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And so Don and Charlie are joking about CB possibly being gay, being a
Hmm.
lesbian, right?
Right. Yeah.
Which because she's got her greaser haircut and leather jacket and everything.
Right.
And then Don just like puts the idea out there that Charlie should go up to her bedroom and rape her.
And again, listeners, this is her dad
Her
that
dad,
said
man.
that. Her dad just said that to his slimy friend while the mom is shooting heroin. This is this is a rough watch. But I mean, up until now, the movie's been a rough watch, but this end of this movie is really hard to watch. And it was very shocking at the time
Yeah.
when people saw it in the theaters, and people had a very hard time with this movie and critics. Um, and I would imagine even now, if someone, watches it on streaming or picks up the Blu-ray, it's like I said, it's a movie you're never going to forget. And its culmination really just sadly goes there.
It's you hit the nail on the head, man. It's just
Yeah.
rough. It's triggering, and
Hmm.
so the mother can't witness it anymore. Like they're going up, they're knocking on her door. CB suspects something's going to happen, so she's got a chair ready to defend herself.
Mhm.
And her mother just checks out. Like she just like goes into the bathroom and shoots more drugs, you know?
Yeah.
And in
And
a way, it reminded me a little bit of like Sarah Palmer, like knowing that Leland was raping Laura, how she
yes,
just like checks out.
exactly. Yeah, totally, totally. Very, very good. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, and it just like, you know, Don and Charlie knocking on the door and asking her to open it and this and that was just so fucked up. And they get in there and she swings a chair at them. And thankfully, Charlie, leaves and it's just the father and the daughter in there. And that's when they share a very, very, uncomfortable scene, right?
Yeah. With that, and that's like even more of like of a disturbing that Charlie just is as much of a scumbag as he is, as much of a
Yeah.
horrible like slimeball as he is, he couldn't go through it.
Yeah. He's just like, I'm going to leave or whatever. I'm going to go
I'm
downstairs.
out. I'm out. I'm
Yeah.
not part of this anymore. You know what I
Right.
mean? And so that just leaves Don and CB together in the room, and this is where things get real heavy,
Mm.
you know? And yeah, it's just really, really uncomfortable. So we've got CB in her underwear, and she's like, Don's wasted, right?
Mm.
And there's a scene where you see his head like between her legs,
Yeah.
and
It's rough.
yeah,
Yeah.
and she's like, take a good look at it, and it's like, I remember
Mm.
everything, telling him
Yeah.
basically.
Mm.
And then she fucking stabs him to death with scissors.
Yes. It's the blood spurts out like it's the horror connection that some might have been waiting for. Although, like I said, it's a different kind of horror movie. Yeah, she murders her father right there in the bedroom, justifiably so, in my opinion. But she leaves him in the bedroom and she goes downstairs to talk to mom. And this scene plays out really differently. She manages to get mom to go outside and to go into the truck with her. The truck that, was the scene of the crime at the beginning of the movie where the dad murdered all those school children.
Yeah.
Um, and, you know, mom is kind of like doesn't understand why they're in there and she's kind of like wilding out a little bit and there's like this fuse in the truck and CB lights it and the mother's like what are you doing, what is this, like, what I'm saying, and she's like, oh, it's just an electrical fuse, blah blah blah. And then CB references Sid Vicious at this point and says Sid took his loved ones with him when he died, and then like the truck explodes and she ends up killing herself and her mother in the truck and the film ends. Um, I was a little surprised at that part. I,
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't think she was going to take herself out. I was fully prepared to see the mom deservedly die, in my opinion. But it made it a darker ending to know that CB felt that this was the only way out for her as well.
Yeah, it was just bleak, and after you're done watching this movie, you're just like, oh God, man. Like, what do I do with the rest of my day? It's like
Yeah, it's you know, again, I bring up Gaspar No movies and just maybe some of the other films we've referenced and talked about where it's like it takes you on this very dark, depressing journey. Um, but I will say I think this is actually a very good movie, Mike.
oh yeah, I mean that, and I
Um,
guess that's you kind of touched on something when you mentioned Gaspar Noé, because Gaspar Noé obviously he gets discussed in the horror circles,
mm,
and this film is equally as horrific as like I Stand Alone or Irreversible or something like that. You know what I mean? And I mean it's
mhm,
different, but it's and also like I said, Henry Portrait of a serial killer. It's like the same bleakness and just like kind of brooding like darkness that's in the Henry movie, and just there's like these very like the scenes sometimes drag on where you're just observing people interacting.
mhm.
Like there's a lot of dialogue that's probably was like improvised in this film, and
Yeah, it definitely seems like it. It really
yeah,
does.
and it reminded me a little bit of how like Tom Towles and Michael Rooker interacted in some ways in Henry, where You can tell they probably had like, pretty loose dialogue and they just kind of went with certain themes in it. And that's the same sort of, I mean, the movies aren't really alike, but there's that aspect of them that kind of remind me of them a little bit. They tie them together in my mind a little bit.
No, absolutely. I mean, as I mentioned before, when it came out, it was quite controversial. When it actually screened at Cannes, it was booed, and
Yeah.
people were quote nauseated and shocked by what they had seen. Um, but Roger Ebert back then gave it a 3.5 star review and said the movie escalates so relentlessly towards its violent, nihilistic conclusion that when it comes, we believe it. So he liked this movie, which is really interesting.
Ebert, Ebert was always fair when it came to
Hmm.
these like, extreme movies or whatever. I think he also liked Henry. No?
Yes, he loved Henry and he loved
Yeah.
Last House on the Left. So yeah,
Yeah.
he's an interesting guy. But like horror, he seemed to not like it all. Like like he
Yeah.
wasn't a big fan of the '80s horror explosion, so to speak. Neither was Gene Siskel, but these movies he liked. The British Guardian said it was an accomplished dissection of a fractured redneck family life, and Manda's performance was stunning. Um, you know, and Boston Globe, Bruce McCabe said, despite its controversial subject matter, which makes it difficult to have the film, as a marketable film, it shouldn't be held against it. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think Hopper in this is great as a horrific human being, and the mother is great to a degree. No,
Yeah. No,
Sarah Paulson, yeah.
everyone's great in this, man. It's just like, I mean, it's not an everyday movie, It's not
No.
something you put on to feel good about the world and humanity. And
Mhm.
but it's an important movie, and I feel like this film informed a lot of stuff later on. In a lot of ways, I feel like just like I touched on earlier, how nothing really happens. I mean, obviously the ending is a big climax, but from scene to scene, it's just like life is happening, and
Yeah.
there's all those movies that came out in the early 2000s that were like the quote unquote mumblecore movies where they weren't really
Mhm.
about anything.
Right.
In some ways, I feel like this it informed a lot of those films, you know what I mean? And like, people might have seen this film that were making films that were like, oh, I don't really have to have like a tight narrative. I can sort of have an idea how I want it to end and just meander through these different scenes and have it based on improv dialogue.
Yeah, and what I also thought was interesting as an aside was how they managed to get some actual Elvis music into this film, which I thought was pretty surprising.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and you know, uh, the Out of the Blue is taken from the Neil Young song, which
yep,
features in the beginning and end of the film. So Neil Young was on board with, him and Hopper, I believe, were buddies back then, and he was totally cool with obviously the title of the movie and using the music, which I thought was great. Um, again, is it an everyday movie? No, but I think it's a movie that a lot of our audience will like. And if they haven't seen it already, would definitely be interested in it. And it just kind of like it kind of belongs in the annals of disturbing film, but again, it's also very just like a very dark drama too, right?
yeah. It's like a deconstructed drama too, like because
Mm.
it's not like there's any real subplots or anything like that. It's just like a very lean sort of setting that these people are operating in.
Yeah, and
Uh,
look, man, the other sad fact is that this is a very believable tale.
well,
You know what I'm
I
saying?
mean,
Yeah,
unfortunately, I know some people that have their childhoods were very similar to that. So,
yeah.
fortunately,
I
um,
You could make a movie like look, you could make a movie like this today. You really could actually. But I don't know who would see it or what would become of it, but you definitely could. And
you're
that's,
not, but you're not. It wouldn't be as hard hitting, and you would never have the guy who played the dad in that movie, the dude with the male pattern baldness and the
mm,
mustache, like
mm,
like that. They would never cast an actor like that today in a movie like this. You know what I mean?
right.
Yeah, you're like some handsome, chiseled guy. You know what I mean? With
Yeah.
like salt and pepper hair, that kind of dude. You know?
Yeah, but it's also about like young people out there living these very dire lives, and it happens every day, and I bet this was super shocking in 1980, and it's shocking in 2026. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna have to pick up that Severin Blu-ray, man, if I can find it, if it's still
Yes.
available.
It's a double disc. It's got a lot of cool extras. There's a lot of interviews with people who made the film, and yeah, really cool. There's a tribute to Linda Manz in it. And of course, some people may remember that Harmony Korine was a fan of this movie because he cast Linda Manz in a Gummo as the mother.
Oh, I can see Harmony Korine being into this for
Oh,
sure.
totally, totally. Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
what do you give Out of the
Oh,
Blue?
dude, I give it a 4.5 out of 5.
So did I. So did
Yeah.
I, actually. I was 4.5. I think it's an important movie. I think it's a landmark movie. It's there's not a lot of movies like this out there.
No, no.
And maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing. I don't know. But I think this movie deserves to be seen, and I'm glad that it is available. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, be advised though, man. This is a rough one to watch if you're at all intrigued by this movie. Um,
Hmm.
I don't I had to rent it, so I'm not exactly sure where it's streaming, but or
Hmm.
if it's streaming anywhere besides Apple and Prime.
I think it's
Uh
add-ons on a few, but it's not like it's not a part of your subscription
yeah.
streamer, as I call it. It's like the add-on where you pay extra. Yeah.
Yeah, so but I'm fixing to get the Severin restored version of this film. Like I said, I don't plan on watching this anytime soon, but I want to have access to this movie, even if it's just for the extras and the occasional rewatch.
Yeah, definitely, man. All right. Well,
Yeah.
another one in the books, kids. Another Necromaniacs episode done. Again, thank you all so much for the support. Thank you for the messages, the Instagram banter, right, Mike?
Enjoy all that stuff in this grim world that we live in. So it's nice to have something to look forward to.
Exactly. Thank you all so much. We will see you next time.
Take care, guys. We'll talk to you next week.
Hey, hey, rock and roll is here to stay. It's better to burn out than to fade away. Hey, hey. Out of the blue and into the black. They give you this, but you pay for that. And once you're gone, you can never come back. When you're out of the blue and into the